Welcome back to CIA Declassified. Today we examine a piece of technology that turned an agent's own skeleton into a clandestine communications array. The setting is a crowded street in East Berlin in 1963. A man sits at a cafe, seemingly lost in thought, puffing on a mahogany smoking pipe. He isn't wearing a bulky headset, and there are no wires snaking down his neck. To the Stasi officers walking past, he is just another civilian enjoying a midday smoke. But inside his head, he is hearing a high-priority broadcast from a station miles away. The message isn't traveling through the air to his ears. It's vibrating through his teeth. This is the story of the pipe bone-conduction radio. Sometimes a pipe is just a pipe, but in the Technical Services Division, it was a masterpiece of hidden engineering. The device was officially classified as the Subminiature-Bone-Conduction Receiver. It earned the nickname the pipe because during the 1960s, smoking pipes were a ubiquitous accessory for men, providing the perfect natural camouflage for the internal components. The factual reason for using this specific form factor was twofold. It allowed for a high-pressure bite point necessary for bone conduction, and the hollow bowl of the pipe provided just enough space to house a mercury battery and a copper induction coil without alerting a casual observer. The agency turned to the science of acoustics to bypass the ears entirely. Bone conduction works by bypassing the eardrum and transmitting sound vibrations directly to the cochlea, C-O-C-H-L-E-A, through the bones of the skull. By biting down on the pipe stem, the agent created a direct bridge for these vibrations. A quote from a Declassified Technical Services Division operational manual. The receiver is entirely covert. Sound is perceived internally by the operator, making it impossible for a nearby listener to overhear the transmission, even in a silent room. End quote. The pipe stem was crafted from a specialized hard plastic that mimicked vulcanite, but was optimized to conduct high-frequency vibrations without dampening the signal. A quote from former CIA Chief of Disguise Jonah Mendez. The beauty of these tools was that they used the agent's own body as part of the mechanism. You weren't just carrying the radio, you were the speaker. End quote. The device was a receive-only unit. While the agent could hear headquarters, he still had to use other methods like a dead drop or a signal light to respond, as the technology for a bone conduction microphone was still in its infancy. A quote from a 1965 technical evaluation report: "Clarity is dependent on the tightness of the subject's bite. Operators must be trained to maintain consistent mandibular pressure for the duration of the burst transmission." End quote. To the operator, the voice sounded like it was originating from the center of their own brain, a sensation that many early testers described as disorienting or ghostly. The batteries were hidden in the base of the pipe bowl, disguised under a layer of real, partially burned tobacco to pass a visual inspection if the agent was searched. Because the radio relied on low-frequency induction loops, the agent usually had to be within a specific range of a transmitter, often a wire hidden in a nearby wall or a car parked across the street. A quote from an internal memo on agent comfort: "Prolonged use of the device has resulted in reports of localized headaches and jaw fatigue. Operational windows should be limited to 5-minute intervals." End quote. The pipe was part of a larger family of bone conduction devices, including a version hidden in the frames of heavy horn-rimmed eyeglasses that vibrated against the mastoid bone behind the ear. By the late 1960s, the Technical Services Division had miniaturized the receiver so effectively that it could be fitted into a fake tooth, though this required a much more invasive dental installation. The mercury batteries used in the 1960s were prone to leaking. Declassified safety logs show several agents had to be treated for mild heavy metal exposure after biting too hard on the stem. A quote from the 1968 TSD Annual Review: "Miniaturization of the induction coil has reached its physical limit. Future developments will focus on implantable components rather than external accessories." End quote. Technicians found that the best sound quality was achieved when the agent touched their tongue to the roof of their mouth while biting, creating a secondary resonant chamber. The project declassified a specific frequency list ranging from 300 to 3000 hertz, specifically calibrated to travel through human bone with minimal distortion. When we look at the declassified files, some of the most significant gaps are found in the section titled Involuntary Bioacoustic Coupling. This document contains the heaviest redactions in the entire TSD audio archive, specifically the section on remote activation of existing materials, which is completely blacked out. Over 2,100 pages of the vibration resonance testing are also missing. Why is the agency hiding the way they can turn everyday objects or even body parts into receivers without the owner's knowledge? Get ready for the fury of the teeth talker. Speculation suggests dental implants are actually bone conduction radios activated by the agency. This theory claims the redactions in the post-installation monitoring logs hide the fact that since the 1990s, the government has required a secret component in all titanium dental post. They argue the missing pages describe a way to broadcast subliminal messages directly into the skulls of citizens, turning their own mouths into speakers for a silent propaganda stream. Some imagine the redacted pages have to do with mass resonance events, hiding a darker secret. This theory argues that the agency discovered a specific frequency that can make anyone with a metal filling hear a specific tone. They claim the redactions describe a sonic weapon that could cause mass panic by making an entire city hear the voice of God inside their own jaws simultaneously. Theorists looking at the blacked out structural vibration mapping section argue the agency can turn entire buildings into bone conduction transmitters. They claim the redactions hide a plan where the steel beams in your office vibrate at a frequency that your skeleton picks up on when you lean against a wall, allowing the agency to whisper to you without a single microphone in the room. Gossip suggests the black bars have to do with neural path integration sections, which are apparently redacted. This theory posits that the agency can use these vibrations to delete a person's sense of balance, making them collapse instantly by sending a high-intensity pulse through their teeth via a remote satellite beam. Rumor says that kitchenware modification redaction exists somewhere in these blacked out pages that hide evidence that the pipe was just the beginning. They claim the agency modified thousands of sets of silverware in the 1970s so that any foreign diplomat eating with a specific fork would receive instructions through their teeth every time they took a bite. Some believe the redacted pages hide a breakthrough in biological data storage, that the agency has found a way to write data into the calcium structure of your bones using bone conduction frequencies, making your own skeleton a hard drive that they can read. Speculation persists that the redactions have to do with subaudible warfare and that the agency is currently fighting a secret war where no words are spoken, only vibrations sent through the ground that are picked up by the soles of your feet and travel up to your jaw exist. Fringe gossip argues the redacted sections describe a phenomenon where mysterious dental pain is actually the result of a firmware update being pushed to a person's bone conduction implants from a nearby cell tower. Whispers from the dark web suggest that the redacted pages hide an inorganic integration file that proves the agency can track your location by the unique acoustic signature of your skull, which rings like a bell every time a specific radar pulse hits it. Another wild theory claims that the missing pages describe a device that can block you from hearing certain words in real time by sending a counter vibration through your jaw that cancels out the sound before it reaches your brain. Conspiracy enthusiasts argue that there is a mercury battery leakage connection that proves the truth of the secret that the original pipes were designed to poison agents slowly, making them more suggestible to the voices they were hearing. Lastly, final whispers suggest the redactions are so heavy because they prove that the current world is full of ghost voices that are actually just leftover bone conduction signals from the 1960s that are still bouncing around inside the Earth's crust. Was the pipe bone conduction radio a success? Tactically, it was a masterstroke. It solved the most persistent problem of fieldwork: how to receive information in a high-threat environment without appearing to have a radio. It was the ultimate invisible earpiece of its day and age. Strategically, it was a niche tool. The physical toll on the agent, the headaches, and the dental stress meant it could never be a primary communication method. However, as the declassification shows, the principles of non-auditory communication are now a cornerstone of modern intelligence tech. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, the Jawbone signal led to breakthroughs that have migrated far beyond the world of spies, such as subminiature induction coils, perfecting the ability to receive signals through solid objects without an external antenna. Bioacoustic coupling, the scientific understanding of how to vibrate human bone to simulate clear speech. Camouflage integration, setting the standard for hiding high-tech electronics and low-tech everyday objects. And tactical silence doctrine, developing protocols for zero-noise communication in hostile territory. The pipe reminds us that the agency doesn't just want to listen to you, they want to talk to you in ways you can't even describe to anyone else. As the files reveal, the truth isn't just out there. Sometimes it's vibrating right between your own teeth. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we examine Project JID Art. In Southeast Asia, the agency didn't just use bullets, they used horoscopes. We'll uncover the prophecy planting logs, the fake astrologer manifest, and the moment the world realized that a newspaper column could be as deadly as an assassin's rifle. Join us next time for the celestial puppet. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.